Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tabmock99. Now, today's video is a long time coming. This time around, we'll be talking about the One Being. Now, we've never actually seen the One Being in-game. I don't think you even can. It's not even possible. Well, the One Being story is tied very closely with the Kamidogu. In fact, I'd say they're inseparable. You pretty much can't talk about the One Being without talking about the Kamidogu, and vice versa. Let's go back to the start. The One Being was introduced in Mortal Kombat Deception. The best explanation of who he is comes from Conquest Mode, from Damashi.
The Kamidogu made possible the creation of reality. The Elder Gods used them to split the consciousness of the One Being into what we know as the realms.
I do not understand. What is this One Being?
Before the creation of the realms, there were only the Elder Gods and the One Being. The One Being fed off the Elder Gods. It consumed them. A war raged in the timeless void until 6 Elder Gods forged the Kamidogu and used them to splinter the One Being into the many realms.
I am humbled by the scope of what you have revealed to me.
And also some random NPCs.
I have heard tales that the realms are actually a consciousness trying to wake up. That would mean we are nothing but dreams.
And even some of the backwards talking NPCs. Like this one, I'll reverse it so it plays forward.
The One Being uses the ambition of creatures like Shao Kahn and Onaga to merge itself back together.
But I gotta tell you, in my mind, the One Being's origins go back even further to the Mortal Kombat novel by Jeff Roven. When the novel opens up, it talks about Pan Ku, who just popped into existence one day. When he died, his body became all the matter in the entire universe. The sun, the moon, the earth, even the outworld. Now, the original idea for Pan Ku comes from Chinese mythology. So when the Mortal Kombat games first introduced the One Being, I immediately thought back to Pan Ku. I also thought back to how when they first introduced the Dragon King, that was all that they called him, the Dragon King. And it wasn't until the next game where they actually gave him his proper name, Onaga the Dragon King. So I thought, maybe they would do that here. Maybe they'll start calling him Pan Ku the One Being. But it never happened. Oh, by the way, I once asked John Vogel personally if the idea for the One Being came from the novel, but it didn't. Turns out, he'd never even read it. In the Mortal Kombat X comics, the Kamidogu are back, and this time around, they take the form of daggers. Each Kamidogu blade tasted the blood of the One Being. Its essence dwells within them. Also, getting stabbed with the Kamidogu daggers increases your power, but it also puts you under a curse where you get possessed. So, that sucks. Also in Mortal Kombat X, Shinnok wants to bring the One Being back.
Earthrealm belonged to Shinnok. It became the staging area from which he would finish his war on the Elder Gods, which began eons ago. The Elder Gods had lied to the denizens of the realms. They were not individual beings, but merely parts of a greater collective known as the One Being. Shinnok would merge the realms and awaken him. Whole once more, the One Being devoured the Elder Gods. Shinnok watched with satisfaction. This reality had finally come to an end.
Now, some people are asking if the One Being is even still relevant, to which I would offer a resounding yes. First of all, he makes a cameo in Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge. See that guy right there behind the Elder Gods? That is a cosmic face. That's got to be the One Being. Also, in MK11, there's a couple of intro dialogues that specifically refer to him.
We are children of the One Being, as are all gods of the realms. Then why destroy what it made? You worship the One Being.
The god before gods hears Outworld's prayers.
Yet they remain unanswered, Jade.
And one of the story writers, Sean Kittleson, was on an episode of Mortal Podcast where he also came up.
There is a piece of deep mythological MK lore that has been repeated many, many, many times on the show. And we talked about it when we had dinner the other night. And you actually corrected me on a piece of it that makes way more sense.
Okay.
And I think it's just a piece of information that's not really out there in any clear sense. But I just wanted to say, so at the dawn of time in the MK universe, there was the One Being.
Yep.
Now, how do you imagine the One Being existing? Is this a celestial body? Is this just an intangible concept? in like a Lovecraftian sense, like
The one being is the sum and totality of everything. It's all matter and all energy that can neither be created nor destroyed.
Great.
It's all of it, and it's all together. And to create anything in existence requires like these little bits of the one being to kind of like pull away.
sure, there's like a little piece of like one being dust inside of us all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so that's consistent more or
Yep.
less with how he's been discussed. The thing that wasn't is that most of the information I was able to find about like the beginning of MK lore kind of said that at the dawn of time there was the one being and the elder gods.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that you brought up when we were talking was that the one being created the elder gods. The elder gods are also a part of the one being.
Yeah. Well, the one being so the one being is everything.
Right.
And then the one being gradually allowed for existence by creating these various entities. And the elder gods are some of those entities, but the elder gods mostly apply to things that are matters of terrestrial phenomena.
Right.
They don't govern the laws of the universe. They don't govern the laws of physics. That's where the Titans come in. The Titans are the actual forces of nature, and the elder gods are like subservient to that, and that they are the systems that run below the macro systems of physics and reality and time.
So the hierarchy is like the one being creates the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Did the Titans create the elder gods, or did
No.
the one being so the one being then also creates the elder gods?
Yeah.
But in the hierarchy, they're below the Titans.
Yeah, they're filling in roles. So like
Right.
the one god, or the one being, there is nothing but the one being. And then the one being allows for existence to happen by creating Chronica and by creating other Titans. And
Right.
now that those Titans exist, now there's things like time. So there can be movement and narrative,
Right.
progression. And within those systems, they now need something to work. So this is how you build reality.
Right.
Or in the case of, originally there's one realm, and the one realm is comprised by the one being, and it's run by all of these different systems. And the elder gods are one system, and then right above them, like the operating system,
Right.
is the Titans.
Got
and
it.
then the elder gods are subroutines that keep everything tidy and working. And the one being, when the elder gods and some of the Titans overthrow the one being, and that's kind of, I think, the thing that we've probably never talked about as much, or because it's all brand new,
Right.
is that the Titans and the elder gods want to break apart the one being to create all these different realms.
Right. They want to be in charge, so they take the thing that's basically in charge of them, rise up against it, slice it up into a bunch of little pieces.
Yep.
Using the Kamidogu daggers.
Yep.
Which were created by the elder gods.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, those pieces become realms that now the elder gods get to govern instead of having to
Instead of being
subservient.
subroutines.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Shao Kahn's whole MO is like, it's not just make Outworld great again. It's kind of make one being great again.
Right.
But let's bring it all back together. That's the way it was in the beginning. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the mission.
Right. So, like, in theory, not necessarily an evil goal.
No, he's an originalist.
Right. Wow. Yeah. It's such an insane, heady concept. I love that that's like the base mythology of a video game series that's ostensibly about ripping people's spines out of their bodies and very little else. I do have a question for you. Elementals. How do they factor into the hierarchy of Elder God?
I would put them, to me, you could categorize them around, they're more Titan, on the Titan scale than God.
Okay, so they're like above the Titans. Above the Elder Gods.
I would put them in an in-between space even.
Okay, so it's kind of like if Elder Gods are to the left and Titans are like slightly higher to the right. The Elementals are like kind of hovering betwixt.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like
center.
how close are you to the one being?
Right.
How far are you from the source?
Right.
And how far down the hierarchy do you go? Physical matter.
Right.
I take a very scientific approach to this.
I think that's the only way to do it. The only way to comprehend it.
Yeah, no, we went real Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, you have to
plot this stuff.
You have to.
Yeah.
Great. Makes sense.
It's got to make sense. Well, it's got to make sense
there was a
in the
chart
room.
somewhere at NetherRealm
There are charts,
whiteboards, and
there's all kinds of crazy shit. But then there's also just replaying the old games,
right?
And going back there, being like, all right, how do we fit this together?
I adore that all of this has kind of been in there from the beginning.
And earlier today, over Twitter, a couple of the developers expressed a disagreement with how they see the One Being. When a fan asked how the One Being and the Titans fit in with each other, Dominic Cianciolo said Titans exist above the One Being. But Sean Kittleson has said the opposite. In his view, the One Being ranks above the Titans. Since it's never been explicitly stated either way in-game, they've kind of left the door open for themselves on that one. You know, as much as I like the idea of the One Being, as well as the idea of Kronika, when you really think about it, it is pretty hard to make them fit together. I mean, take something that Kronika says to Shao Kahn.
You conquer because I will it.
So, Kronika was the one getting Shao Kahn to merge the realms, which doesn't make any sense with what we heard earlier, because it was supposed to be the One Being doing that. I mean, I guess you could say it's both, but how could that be? Because you'd think that Kronika and the One Being have opposite goals. The One Being wants to pull himself together and emerge once again to leech off of the Elder Gods. And I really doubt Kronika wants that to happen to her children. I mean, Kronika's not perfect, but I really doubt she wants stuff like that to happen to her own children, like Cetrion and Shinnok. And Kronika keeps restarting time. She keeps resetting the universe back to the beginning, which means the One Being can never reform. I mean, anytime he starts to get close, he gets rewinded all the way back to the beginning. He's right back to where he started. Stuff like that means that as awesome as MK11 is, it's really hard to reconcile the plot with the other games in the franchise. Well guys, that's pretty much all there is to know about the One Being. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if you prefer the MK11 story or the old game story, or if you like them both. Make sure you leave a like on this video either way, and of course, subscribe. And hit that notification bell so you know every time I pull myself together and release a new video. Until next time, this is Tabmock99.